In UFC 305's long-awaited All-African fight, Dricus Du Plessis retained his middleweight title with a fourth-round rear naked choke against the former champ Israel Adesanya to finally put their rivalry to rest.
You know, as a warrior to a warrior, like I said, I'm still not Israel Adesanya. We are not friends because on a personal level, we do not see eye to eye. But warrior to warrior, after spending that time with him in that octagon and what he's achieved in the sport, it's no secret, I respect that. And after spending the time with him in the octagon, you can't not respect that man.
When Adesanya was still the champ, the Nigerian-born fighter took offense to the South African, claiming to be the only real championship caliber fighter from Africa in the UFC. DDP injured himself before their title fight though, and Sean Strickland, in one of the biggest upsets in UFC history, beat Izzy for the belt before losing it almost immediately to DDP. That finally left Du Plessis to face Adesanya, and it was a war. Both men landed heavy shots early, so DDP went to work with his grappling in the second. Adesanya turned it on in the third until Du Plessis stunned him before going into what was to be their final round.
In that fourth round, I landed quite a lot of big shots. The man can take a punch, but you can only take that many. He kicks like an abs. Jeez, the man kicks hard. The first inside low kick he kicked me, I think his feet felt like this big. When he kicked me, it felt so heavy. He has that inside low kick was incredible, but I stuck to the plan.
After eating some combos early, Du Plessis clipped Adesanya with a left hook that rocked him. But instead of getting greedy, the champ went to the grappling again and got the tap.
I tried to stay as disciplined in there as necessary, not blitzing forward for too long, because the blitz is it's one thing I'm going to do, and everything worked out perfect.
Next up for the champ is a likely defense against Strickland in a fight that doesn't worry DDP.
Going into that Strickland fight now, I know I've been in there with him. He can't handle what I have. He can't handle what I have to offer. So, yeah, this time I can finish him. I mean, we saw it. Yeah, he beat Izzy. Now we have a comparison. That's how you finish someone.
A bigger fight, in every sense of the word, would be against the former champ Alex Pereira. The current light heavyweight champ expressed an interest in coming back down to middleweight for a shot at DDP. Again, though, he's not worried.
I honestly don't think Alex Pereira should drop down to 185. If he wants to, great, perfect. But then we're going to hear the excuses. I saw we saw Izzy stiff that man in the first round. I felt Izzy's punching power tonight. If that, Izzy has great timing. He's fast, he's long, and he has great combinations. But I felt the power. If Izzy stiffens you like that, you do not want to be in there with me.
Adesanya's teammates had a better night. Kai Kara-France took home $50K for his first round knockout, and Dan Hooker took home $50K along with Mateusz Gamrot for their fight of the night. The other $50K went to Carlos Prates for doing this to Li Jingliang. Is that even Li Jingliang? It's really hard to tell. Brave made a historic return to Pakistan last weekend, where Rauan Bekbolat delivered a huge upset in the main event against Omar Solomonov. The Kazakh fighter ended the Ukrainian's 11-fight win streak with a guillotine in the third, which earned him the win and the new #1 contender spot in Brave's featherweight division. The event also marked the first and second ever Pakistan versus India MMA fights in Pakistan, which included the co-main event between Srikant Sakar and Rizwan Ali. After being controlled by Srikant for most of the first 2 rounds, Rizwan dropped him with a right hand to secure a victory for Pakistan, while the Indian went home on a stretcher. Also on the card, Alizia Kubanza earned his 3rd consecutive first-round finish in the promotion against Salamat Orazkanov. This time, the Congolese fighter knocked the Kyrgyzstani out with his heavy hands. That brings his undefeated record to 6 wins with 6 KOs. Ismail Khan made a strong promotional debut in his bout with the Kazakh World Wrestling Championship medalist Bagilan Zahakansha. In the second round, the Pakistani locked into a rear naked choke for the win before calling for a Pakistan versus India matchup in his next Brave fight. Lasha Abramishvili also made an impressive promotional debut in his bout against Muhammad Idrisov. The Georgian warrior starched the fighter from Bahrain in the second round with a series of fight-ending blows. And in the first ever Pakistan versus India bout on Pakistan soil, Zia Mashwani made it 2 for 2 against Bharat Kandare. Mashwani was aggressive from the start and quickly locked in the triangle to get the tap in under 2 minutes to secure his place in history. Akib Awan also had plans to put on a show for his countrymen, but Marwan Karante had other ideas. It took just 18 seconds for the Filipino Green Goblin to land this highlight reel front kick. That was the end of the Pakistani fighter's night. Abbas Khan returned to Brave with a dominant performance against Adam Muhammad. After 3 rounds of clinch control, all 3 judges awarded the Pakistani the unanimous decision. Murad Gasinov continued his undefeated streak by quickly finishing Ruslan Serikpulov with a first-round TKO via ground and pound to secure his 8th straight win. And in the night's opener, Mojtaba Nasiri and Yuki Angdabe both made history when Nasiri secured the first ever Von Flue choke in Brave against the first Nepalese fighter in Brave. And more history will be made this August 24 when Brave touches down in Bulgaria. At 58 years of age, Mike Tyson is ready for his comeback to professional boxing. That's in spite of his recent health scare. The Boxing Hall of Famer was set to square off against the former YouTuber turned boxer Jake Paul, who has spent his brief but lucrative boxing career selling himself and his punching power. Love him or hate him, Paul is one of the hottest commodities in boxing, and he's worth a lot of money to anyone he fights. To really make bank though, the problem child needs A, a big-name opponent, and B, someone with at least a little credibility. That's where one of the biggest names in boxing history, Iron Mike Tyson, comes into the picture. After a recent hospitalization and a 20-year gap between this and his last pro fight. Mike still likes his chances though. Who else can do it but me? Who else is he going to fight to make this happen, Tyson said, referring to the massive crowd they drew to the press conference. You've just got to listen to the facts. We've got a YouTuber fighting the greatest fighter that ever lived. The Problem Child versus Iron Mike at heavyweight is reset to go down this November 15 at the AT&T Stadium, home of the Dallas Cowboys in Arlington, Texas, so long as Tyson makes it through this training camp. To the real heavyweights, Matchroom promoter Eddie Hearn believes his man Anthony Joshua has just one fight on his mind. A third go-around with the now undisputed champion, Alexander Usyk. After regaining his 3 titles in a rematch with Andy Ruiz in 2019, AJ lost the titles again in 2021 when he faced the former undisputed cruiserweight champion Usyk. After the clear-cut unanimous decision loss, Usyk fought AJ again the next year. But in this attempt at regaining the titles, AJ failed, losing to Usyk by split decision. It was a loss that clearly crushed him. He wants to beat Usyk because in the first fight he had with Usyk, frankly, he came out second best. He went away, he regrouped, he learned, he studied, and he still got beat in the second fight, said Hearn. That's why he got so disappointed in the second fight. AJ's next fight is an eliminator against his fellow Englishman Daniel Dubois, and the winner will get the winner of December's rematch between Usyk and the former champ Tyson Fury. Dubois versus Joshua is locked in for September 21 and will go down at Wembley Stadium in London. To the junior middleweights, or possibly middleweights, or possibly super middleweights. Terence Crawford could be about to let everyone down, except for himself. The former two-weight undisputed champion has made it clear that he wants to face the super middleweight moneymaker Canelo Alvarez as soon as he can, which makes sense for Bud. The problem is Canelo has never seemed interested. With a net worth of well over $200 million, he doesn't need to risk a loss against Crawford. Plus, Crawford is a much smaller fighter than Canelo, so a win wouldn't look that impressive anyway. With Crawford's recent title win in his new division being a much more closely contested fight than he expected, he's not eyeing off any of the other title holders. Instead, he's reportedly in discussions with Canelo's greatest rival, Gennady Golovkin. This would have been an insane move to make 5 years ago when Triple G was a monster at middleweight. However, Golovkin is now 42 and hasn't fought since his third bout against Canelo, which was a lackluster decision loss in 2022. If fighting a semi-retired former champion for a little extra cash, instead of taking on another champion, is the path that Crawford chooses, then it's a lose-lose situation for fight fans.
Thanks for watching, and remember, if you want more fight sports in your life, just hit the subscribe button.